Hi, this is Kate from Izzalicious Designs. Well, in my previous video I showed you how to use one of these circular nifty knitters to make a Barbie doll hat using Rainbow Loom bands. And this time I thought I'd show you how to make a hat for yourself using yarn. So I went to my store and I ended up buying something called Woolies. It was a thick and quick Lion brand, and I have no idea about how to see. This is a super bulky, yeah, I really don't know how to tell one ball of yarn from another. I'm very new to this. So my first thing was, oh, this is really pretty, I'm going to get this. And I tried making a hat with it, and it was absolutely appalling because I could see great big gaps in it and everything like that. Maybe if I had done 3 rounds and then done it, it would have been better. Maybe I need to practice a little bit more. But I thought, well, I don't have time to do that. Izzy wants a hat. So I bought chunky wool. And this was the thick and easy chunky wool that I have made a hat with. So I'm going to show you how to do it on this littler circle. When you buy the kit of these, you also get this little tool here, which it's not really a hook, but it is like a probe, as you can see, and that helps you go in this little groove here and pull the wool or the yarn over. You also get a yarn needle, and this is really quite handy for when you sew things up, so they're worth having as well. So have that on standby, and a pair of scissors. Now, when you do this, and I'm not going to do the whole thing on here because it will take 100 years, what I'm going to do is show you how we start, how you go through it, and then I have one that I've partially finished, which is for my daughter's best friend, and I will show you how to finish it. So the way to do this is you look for this little knob here on the side, and what you're going to do is take the yarn of your choice and wrap it around it like a figure 8, like that, okay? And then move my yarn out the way. It's going to be a little tricky because we're very close here. Then what you're going to do, hold it out like this. Round every peg you're going to be wrapping the yarn in an anti-clockwise, and don't do it too tightly. You want it to be sort of a bit loose. You do sort of want to hang on to this. I sort of have it trapped with my little finger. So go around, and you want this to be pushed down as well. So kind of push it down with your nails as you go around. Now, with this particular size of thickness of yarn, we only need to do 2 rounds before we do our hooking over. So go all the way around. Call me a yarn. There we go. All the way around until you're back to this end peg here. Let's get some more yarn ready. We're going to go around again. Okay, 1. I'm still going to, don't really need to hang on to that one. I think it's going to be quite secure. So we're going to go all the way around again with our yarn, and I'm going to try not to hit my camera. It's kind of like when you do bands, how you do two layers. So all the way around. Back to the beginning. You're going to go round and then around that little knob on the side. Alright, now one of the things that I found to stop this becoming unravelled, which when it does, it unravels all the yarn around, and that's really annoying. So to stop that from happening, loom, and I'm going to say loom, but put your little tool under this one. So we're going to do these 2 back ones before we move around forward. So just put your hook under the first one at the bottom here and loop those over, and then you can sort of let go of that, and it's not going to go anywhere. And then and these are, I have to say, they're very flimsy. The first one I did, I must have done it so tightly because this little tool ended up completely bent in half. If that happens, your best tool for this is your Rainbow Loom hook, because it fits under here so nicely. And now when you first start, there you go, it's a bit tight to do the first one, but once you've got that first one done, the rest of them follow quite easily. So you're taking the bottom one and lifting it up and over. It doesn't matter if it's a bit loose, that's fine. Up and over, up and over. Keep these pulled down because you're going to, for your next round, you're going to go over that. Alright, so up and over, up and over, up and over, all the way around until you get back to that little knobbly bit on the side, which is your visual marker that you're at the beginning. All the way around. So this is really very similar to doing it with bands, except this is so quick and easy. You can get a hat done in 30 minutes. We did one for Izzy, and she's, as I said, busy doing one for her best friend. So back to the beginning here, okay, and what we're going to do now, we've only got one. I'm going to pull some yarn so I have some slack. Here we go. So now we're back to the beginning, and this is the one we finished on. You can see that it's on this peg here. So now we go round again and wrap to do our next layer, just as if we were putting another layer of bands on, but this time we're just wrapping our wool or our yarn on these pegs all the way around. Now you can write down how many rounds you've done. They do have, these craft shops have these little counters. Now when we get here, remember, go around the little knobbly bit. I'll talk about the counter in a minute. And then again, just do the two that are behind the knobbly bit, just so you sort of lock that into place. And then you can sort of let go and not worry that it's going to unravel the whole lot. And then just keep going forward all the way around, and you can see that there's quite a big gap between where you're looping and the yarn that's knotted. And so as you can tell, when I was using the very fine, the very thin yarn, it was just looking awful. I had these huge gaps because the yarn was so thin. At least when you're using a nice thick chunky yarn, it sort of fills in and doesn't look quite so bad. The counter I'm talking about, you get these little gadgets, and they have these little counters on them like this, and you just put it back to 0, and as you do each round you click it. And this is made by Clover, but there's a variety of different ones that you can get. I thought that was quite handy, so I thought I'd grab one. So yeah, you just keep going round like this. Now I found for a hat probably about 40 to 45 rounds is about the right amount. I guess that would depend on the wool, the yarn that you're using, but for this chunky yarn, that seemed to work really, really well. So we'll get back to the beginning again. Here we are. Take your yarn and you work around for your third round, and this is what you do. You just keep doing this. Alright, now let me do my Blue Peter move. My English friends will understand that. Here's one I prepared earlier. So this is one that I've done. I did it on the bigger. The orange seems to fit Izzy's head quite well. I've done, I think, 40 rounds on this. So there we go. You can see that there is quite a gap, but as you when it's on the loom, it looks like there's a big gap between. But when you actually have it down here, it sort of fills in quite nicely. So I'm not too worried about that. Now, you need to know how to finish this off. So what you're going to do, you're going to take a bit of yarn And you want enough that you can go all the way around like this. So I sort of choose quite a bit extra because I want some slack. So I would make sure that I can go all the way around the round like that. But because you're going to be threading it through each and every one, I'm going to go around again twice, and then I'm going to cut it here like that. I'll get rid of the excess. So here is my thread, my lead. So what I'm going to do is thread my yarn through the little needle. Okay, just like that. It's very easy. And then all you're going to do is go through, and with your needle, I hope you can see what I'm doing, go through, and I found I went through at an angle. And you're going to go through each one. All right. Try not to stab yourself. And you're going to collect, basically what you're doing is collecting all of these up. I told you it was easier than trying to take them off with the bands. So sew through all of these. Oops, that was silly of me. Let's rethread that. Sometimes just wetting the end. That sounds a bit gross, doesn't it? But it helps. So I'm just going to go through a few of them at the same time. Thread all the way through. Now if you're a kid and you're not allowed to touch sharp things, get a grown-up to do this bit for you. It's great as Christmas presents and stuff like that, making somebody a homemade hat in their favourite colour. There we go, I'm back at the start like that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my little tool and I'm going to take this off. All the way around. like so. Take that away. So now you look like you've got a hand muff or a boob tube or something. But now what you're gently going to do, you can take the needle away. You don't really need the needle anymore. So take that away so you don't stab yourself. You've got your end here, and you're just gently going to pull it so that everything starts to cinch in at the top of this hat. I'm sorry, you are going to need your needle again because we need to stitch this together. Alright, so there we go. That is how you cinch this all together. Let me get my needle again, which I very carefully put away. Now, I don't need this much, that's just going to be way too much. What you need to do now is stitch this so that it's not going to keep on unravelling. So, thread your little needle. There we go. And what I'm going to do is poke this through the centre like that and bring it out through the inside of the hat. I think if there's going to be a mess of stitches, let's do it on the inside where you can't see. Pull it nice and tight, okay? And then what I'm wanting to do is go through the other side of where the finish was and pull it tight as I can. Okay, and then I'm going to go through again. If I can get my hook to work, my needle to work. Go through again. I don't want the extra. There we go. And I have a loop here. Put your hook through your needle. I'm so used to saying hook. And pull tight in a knot. And you're going to go back through that same spot. Okay. Try not to stab yourself. Make another loop. Put your needle through and tie nice and tight, and I'm just going to cut that like this because this is going to be inside. You're not going to notice. Now the other end is here. Alright, so what I'm going to do with that is grab my little device. If you have a look, when you turn your hat the right way, okay, so here we have our little hat. See, there's the top of it. You can't really notice. This rolls up because this is the brim, I guess, of your little hat. So while this does hide, obviously you don't want it to be as obvious as it really is. So just go through, hook the other end of the yarn and tie a little slip knot so that it's secure, okay? You don't want it to come through on this side because then you're going to be able to see. So you want it to be secured on here. Might need to use your needle. I'm grabbing my hook because it's just so second nature. Push through the same spot that you just did that first. And there's the loop there. Pull the grey bit out, and you're going to go back through the loop. I've just made mine a bit tight. There it is, there's the loop. Push through back. I don't have much slack on my thread, but there you go. Tie it in a little knot like that. Snip the end. And there we have quite a decent, and it is warm because Izzy has been wearing hers to school, but there we have a hat. And it took me under an hour to make this. Well, it took a little longer with Izzy because she was helping, but yeah, when she was at school and she said, "Finish it for me, Mummy," it really has taken about half an hour to do this, and I think it looks quite good. So there we are. Hope you enjoy making. Take care.